Don't scroll past your inbox just yet because on December 10, 2025, something important could land in your account, the final Social Security payment of the year. If you're wondering who gets paid, when, or how much, you've come to the right place. In this video, you'll discover exactly who qualifies for the December payment: retirees, disability beneficiaries, survivors, and SSI recipients. Why December 10 matters and how this payment wraps up the year for millions counting on Social Security. What to check on your statement to make sure you're covered: payment date, direct deposit timing, and withholding notices. Common pitfalls, like delayed deposits or mis-linked accounts, and how you can avoid them before you hit that refresh button again. Whether you rely on Social Security as your main income, use it to cover holiday expenses, or just want to double-check your benefit schedule, this is the update you don't want to miss. We're cutting through the confusion to bring you clarity and peace of mind. Stick around to the end, and I'll show you how to verify your deposit online in under 2 minutes, plus a quick tip to see if your local bank posts early during the holidays. If you want to stay fully informed and avoid surprises, this video could make a real difference in your December plans. So hit that like button, stay informed, and let's get into the final Social Security update of 2025. Right after we've laid out what this December 10 Social Security payment actually means, let's dive deeper into why this particular update carries so much weight for millions of beneficiaries across the country. Every year, December is already a heavy month financially. Between holiday expenses, colder weather, medical visits, and rising utility bills, money tends to move faster than usual. So when people hear that the final Social Security payment of 2025 is happening on December 10, it immediately sparks both urgency and concern. People want to know, will their deposit arrive on time? Will the amount be what they're expecting? And perhaps most importantly, are they even in the group scheduled to be paid on this exact date? To clear things up, we need to start with how Social Security structures its payment calendar. Many people don't realize that the entire system is built around birthdays, eligibility categories, and the type of benefit someone receives: retirement, disability, survivors, or SSI. For December 10 specifically, the payment is tied directly to the group whose birthdays fall within the second weekly schedule. This means that retirees and disability beneficiaries who were born between the 11th and 20th of any month are the ones who should expect their check or direct deposit to land on that day. It's a strict system, but it's also designed to keep the flow consistent throughout the month. And because December 10 falls cleanly on a business day without a federal holiday interfering, the expectation this year is that the payment will arrive without delays for the majority of people. But the story doesn't end there. You see, December payments can sometimes feel unpredictable because the holiday season affects banks, post offices, and processing centers in different ways. Even though the Social Security Administration releases its schedule months in advance, each December brings its own unique challenges. Banking cutoffs are earlier. Weekends often bump up against key dates. People who depend on mailed checks become vulnerable to weather delays or USPS backlogs. And every year, without fail, millions of beneficiaries wake up on their payment day only to find their deposit missing, simply because their bank hasn't processed it yet. The anxiety that causes cannot be overstated. That's why understanding exactly what to expect on December 10 is so important. If you rely on direct deposit, which the SSA strongly recommends, your payment is almost always the first thing the bank processes, usually showing up between midnight and 8 a.m. local time. Some credit unions and online banks even drop the payment a day early, especially during holiday months. If that has happened for you in the past, there is a good chance it might happen again this year. But if your bank tends to delay transactions until mid-morning or afternoon, it's important not to panic right away. Many people assume something is wrong when their deposit doesn't appear by sunrise, but banking policies vary widely. Some institutions don't complete Social Security processing until close to noon. Now, for those who still receive paper checks, although that number continues to drop every year, December can be a tough month. Weather can slow down mail routes, and holiday volume overwhelms sorting facilities. This is why the SSA frequently advises beneficiaries to allow extra days for delivery. But here's the part most people overlook: if your check hasn't arrived after 3 mailing days, you can report it to Social Security and request a replacement. Most people never do this because they assume nothing can be done, but the option is absolutely there, and December payments qualify just the same as any other month. Let's talk about the actual payment amount too, because a lot of confusion always builds around the end of the year. Some people believe that December's last payment includes the upcoming COLA increase, but that is not the case. The December 10 payment is still based on the 2025 benefit rate. The COLA boost for 2026 does not begin until January payments are released. So if you were expecting a higher amount in this final payout of the year, it's important to adjust your expectations now. But don't worry, the new rate will be reflected in your January 2026 payment, which for many people arrives in the second week of the month. Another part of the December payment that many beneficiaries forget about involves withholding. If you have federal taxes withheld from your Social Security checks, or if you recently updated your withholding preferences, the December payment might look slightly different. Sometimes the SSA applies the updated withholding in December instead of January. This isn't a mistake, it just depends on when your request was processed. Similarly, Medicare premium adjustments, especially Part B, can sometimes create minor fluctuations in the final payment of the year. The SSA typically sends out notices explaining these changes, but not everyone receives the letter at the same time. So if your payment ends up being a few dollars short of what you anticipated, it's almost always tied to one of those reasons. Now let's go deeper into the concerns that many beneficiaries have when December rolls around: the fear of delays, the stress of not knowing whether the money will arrive, and the possibility of banks holding deposits. These worries are understandable. When Social Security is your primary source of income, even a one-day delay can disrupt everything from rent payments to medications to groceries. And when December expenses are higher than usual, the timing becomes even more critical. But the good news this year is that December 10 falls on a standard processing day, and there are no federal holidays near that date that could cause interruptions. In fact, this has been named one of the cleanest December payment years in recent memory. Still, it's important to know what to do if something doesn't look right. If your deposit hasn't arrived by the end of the day, the first step is always to check your bank's processing alerts or mobile app. Many institutions post a note when payments are pending or delayed. If nothing shows up there, your next step is to log into your Social Security account online. The payment history section will show whether the SSA has released the deposit on their end. If it shows as sent, the issue is almost always on the bank's side. And while it can be frustrating, the good news is that deposits rarely go missing, they just take longer to process. But if the SSA portal shows no record of your payment being sent, that's when you'll want to contact them directly. It could be something as simple as an account verification issue, a missed notice, or a change you forgot you had made earlier in the year. December is a time when these little details tend to resurface. For example, if you changed your bank account recently and didn't complete the transition before the cutoff date, your December payment might default back to your old account, causing an unexpected delay. Or if your benefit eligibility category shifted, say, from disability to retirement, your payment date might have changed without you realizing it. These situations are rare, but they do happen every December. There's also an important emotional side to all of this that often goes unspoken. For many seniors and disabled Americans, Social Security is more than just a deposit. It's stability, peace of mind, and a reminder that despite rising costs, they still have something reliable to depend on. When the final payment of the year approaches, it becomes more than a financial event. It marks the end of a year filled with challenges, victories, and constant adjustments. People use this payment to plan holiday meals, visit family, buy small gifts for grandchildren, pay off winter heating bills, or simply breathe a little easier knowing they're not finishing the year empty-handed. That's why it matters so much to get the details right. Let's also acknowledge the broader financial climate. Throughout 2025, inflation has fluctuated, and although things have stabilized more than previous years, the cost of living continues to stretch budgets tighter than ever. Groceries, transportation, medication, and rent have not gone down. So this December 10 payment isn't arriving in a vacuum, it's showing up in the middle of a financial landscape where every dollar carries more weight. Beneficiaries want to know not just whether the payment is arriving, but whether it will be enough to cover what they need. While the Social Security Administration cannot change the amount mid-year, understanding exactly what to expect helps reduce a great deal of anxiety. When it comes to holiday timing, some banks offer early deposit programs. This doesn't come directly from Social Security, it's entirely a banking policy, but for people whose banks participate, the December 10 payment might show up on December 9 or even late on the 8th. If you've had early deposits in previous months, it's likely to happen again. But if you're someone whose bank always posts on the actual scheduled date, don't expect a surprise early drop just because it's December. Banks tend to be consistent in how they process federal benefits. Another important thing to know is that Social Security offices and phone lines get exceptionally busy in December. Many people call with last-minute questions about payments, Medicare enrollment, or next year's COLA. If you need assistance, it's often faster to use your online account instead of calling. The online system shows payment status in real time, and you can update personal information there as well. Many beneficiaries still rely on phone calls because they feel safer speaking with a representative, but the online tools are accurate and updated quickly. Let's take a moment to talk about beneficiaries who receive multiple benefit types, such as someone receiving both retirement and survivor benefits, or someone receiving Social Security plus SSI. In these cases, payments are often separated into different dates, which can cause confusion if someone expects everything to arrive together. The December 10 payment applies only to the regular Social Security group scheduled for that date. SSI, on the other hand, typically arrives on the first of the month unless the first is a weekend or holiday. This December, SSI arrived early, so those recipients might already be working with the funds from that payment while still waiting for their Social Security portion on the 10th. The important thing is understanding which benefit comes when, so you can plan your month effectively. As the final payment of the year, December 10 also gives beneficiaries a chance to reflect on their financial year as a whole. Some people will take this moment to review their bank statements, look at their annual Social Security notice, and decide whether they want to adjust tax withholding in the new year. Others might consider updating their online account information, adding a representative payee, or checking their earnings record for accuracy. These small actions can make a huge difference in preventing problems down the line. And finally, let's talk about peace of mind. When you know what to expect, you can prepare, and when you can prepare, you feel more in control. The December 10 payment isn't just another deposit. It's a reminder that despite all the financial uncertainty in the world, Social Security remains one of the most reliable systems in the country. Millions depend on it, and the administration takes that responsibility seriously. By knowing exactly who gets paid, when the payment arrives, what could affect it, and how to verify everything, you're giving yourself the confidence and clarity you deserve. So as we move into this final stretch of the year, take a moment to breathe. Your December 10 payment is on its way. The system is prepared, the banks are ready, and now you are too. And if you found this breakdown helpful, remember that keeping yourself informed is one of the most powerful tools you have. The more you understand how Social Security works, the less stress you'll feel every month, especially during the holidays.